Howdy, folks. I'm Brian, and here's some Reddit. We have some interesting bloopers for you already to watch at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Hammer's laughing over in the corner.
Yes, hi.
Oh. I don't even have the screen on for that one, so I guess we'll just start it like this. I mean, I already did a good enough intro, so you don't have to, you can see that screen. Our first story, and I wanted to keep it a secret, big reveal. Big reveal. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Giving Mom the Money I Saved Up That She Really Needs to Save Her and Her Baby's Lives? I'm the fourth oldest kid of 10. My mom is currently pregnant with her 11th. Yep. Ever since I was 12, I wanted to move out. I can't blame you there. I've been saving up money. It's been hard to actually not spend it, but now I'm 21 and have saved $7,000. My mom knows I work full time, but I lied and told her it was an unpaid internship, otherwise she would have made me give up the money. Her boyfriends literally don't have any money, so she has been taking my siblings and my check since forever. I'm sick of living in this house with so many people. There's nothing more I want than to move away and live by myself finally. My friend and I always talk about moving to New York, and her uncle is a super who offered us an apartment at a really good rate recently. The idea went from being just something we talked about to actually being a reality. Once I secured a job interview, I knew it was time to tell my mom I was moving out. Despite having 4 siblings, none of them have moved out. I didn't know how she'd react. She was extremely upset and asked me how I had the money to move somewhere as expensive as New York and pay rent. I admitted to saving money, and that's when she lost it. She started screaming about how I knew she's struggling to pay rent and pay for the baby's formula and diapers, and how one of her twin toddlers had a surgery 2 years ago, and I didn't offer a dime, and they're my siblings. 2 weeks before my flight, my mom fainted at her job and was hospitalized. They said the pregnancy was too high risk, that she had problems with her other pregnancies before this one, and almost died with her last pregnancy, and they've advised her to abort, otherwise the baby could cost her her life. She refused to abort, saying that she's been getting pregnant since she was 14. It wasn't going to kill her now. She needs to listen to doctors. She was in the hospital on bed rest, and she called me begging to send her some of the money, not even all, to pay for a special procedure to help her baby. I literally can't afford to waste a dime. My money isn't going to last long, even with a job lined up, and I don't want to risk potentially wasting all of my money before I even get to New York, so I told her I couldn't. She went off calling me a jerk, saying that moving isn't as important as her and her baby's life. All of my siblings are saying that I'm evil and that I can wait to move later and that I'm young and I'm a major jerk for not helping out at all. Once I get more stable, I do intend to send her money. I offered $500 and she hung up. I don't know if I'm wrong or not. Edit. Thank you all for your advice. I feel much better about my decision. I'm staying at my friend's house with my bags until our flight tomorrow. Your words of encouragement have been nothing but amazing. I don't feel bad at all anymore. All right, OP. It's really hard to fault you in this situation. I can certainly understand your mother wanting help in this situation, and this is difficult. If she's had high-risk pregnancies before, doctors have probably told her not to get pregnant again. Otherwise, she might end up in the hospital or end up in this exact situation. Your mother is largely doing this to herself. She's not even collecting child support, it sounds like, from all of the other baby's daddies here. And this is really problematic because it puts a huge burden on you and your siblings. And that's a really unfair burden for you to have at such a young age. Especially when it's as easy as her not getting pregnant anymore. And, I can certainly understand if she likes to have kids and wants to have a big family, but the trouble with that is that she's not really in a financial position to be having more kids. And the more she has kids, the higher risk each pregnancy is going to be at this point in time. That's just the issue here, is that she's just not looking out for her own well-being, or the well-being of her children, because what happens if she passes away? Then all of these kids are going to be without a mother, and this is really a very sad situation. This certainly isn't a situation that you're creating. Again, this is created by your mother, her very poor life decisions, and yeah, so you do not have any blame in this situation. I believe in the particular case that your mother's in, the hospital isn't going to refuse to administer life-saving procedures. So if your mother is on the verge of dying or something like that, the hospital isn't just going to give her the boot if she can't afford it. She will rack up debt from the hospital, or medical debt, and that can impact her finances and can impact her credit score and all kinds of things like that. But the hospital isn't just going to, let her expire. So that is something to keep in mind with your decision to move. And you also want to help your mom when you move to the city. And I think that's a very noble thing. And the thing is that you want to move on with your life. You want to improve your situation. And you're knowing that you can't necessarily do as well here as if that you could potentially in somewhere like New York. It's your life, and you can't necessarily be responsible for your mother's bad decisions. And I certainly can understand wanting you to have paid rent and whatnot if you were, utilizing the household resources. And, I can certainly see that she would probably be upset that you weren't helping out in the household financially when you could have been. I'm sure she feels hurt about that. But again, this is largely a situation that she's created. You're trying to get out of this situation. You're trying to do the best you can. And yeah, it would be really hard for me to put fault on you in this situation. So yeah, I really think this is a really regrettable situation. I think that this is a really unfortunate situation, but again, it isn't a situation that is your fault. You're trying to improve your situation, and you're trying to improve your life, and that isn't necessarily something that it seems like your mother wants for herself or her children. So yeah, it's difficult. But anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. Your mom keeps getting knocked up by losers who can't or won't support their kids. Don't give her a dime and get out of there. And OP replies, I'm leaving tomorrow. I just feel so guilty. Everyone is telling me to sell my tickets and give her the money. I don't even use this app. I just looked up ways to get advice and this came up. Hopefully I'm doing the right thing. I just need other opinions. And this is such a hard situation. And this poor person is so young and faced with such a bizarre, situation that I think it's just going to be very difficult to navigate. Not the jerk. The hospital won't refuse life-saving care to a patient. And also, anything complicated is going to cost way more than $7,000. Your mom is BSing you in order to make you stay. Run. Also, unless the mom has a really high-paying job, she should also be eligible for Medicaid with so many children. Medicaid would cover the cost of the medical expenses for her and the kids. That's a really good point. I don't know necessarily how it works. I know some states have Medicare expansion and whatnot, so that may very well be the case here. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for raising my voice when arguing with my girlfriend? This is my grumpy voice. So my girlfriend came over to spend some time with me. Everything was going great until this morning.
She had something to do in the morning, so she woke up early. She made herself some breakfast, and I joined her in about a half hour. She didn't know about how to use my coffee machine. It's an Italian coffee maker. So I explained it to her before hopping into the shower. When I finished, I poured myself a cup of coffee, and it tasted horrible. She didn't rinse the coffee maker thoroughly, so there was dish soap taste in my coffee. I told her that, and she told me that it tasted fine. So I had some in her cup, and it tasted the same. We had a bit of back and forth, and I ended up raising my voice. I always wake up grumpy in the morning, and she knows it. She got mad and stormed off. It's the second time this has happened. And I usually try to avoid it and just try to cool off because I know her father was abusive and she doesn't like it when people start yelling at her. But this time I just snapped. I didn't yell or anything. I just raised my voice a bit out of frustration. I apologized to her, but she told me that she needed some time to cool off. Am I the jerk here?
All right, OP. I'm not trying to poke too much fun at them. It's just my grumpy voice, right? um, Here's the thing: is that I can understand your frustration with the situation, and I can understand wanting a cup of coffee that doesn't taste like dish soap. But also, it doesn't really take that much time to brew another cup of coffee after something like that, and it just seems like, there's no point in crying over spilled milk. So why this needed to turn into an argument other than being like, oh, hey, I just think that maybe the coffee maker should have been rinsed a little more thoroughly. Or maybe in the future, you should rinse the coffee maker out before she utilizes it. It sounds like either one, you washed it ahead of time and didn't rinse it out and expected her just to rinse it out again. Or two, there was coffee in it because you hadn't rinsed it out from the earlier in the day, or from yesterday rather. And it basically was when she was trying to wash it, she just didn't get it, all the soap out. And I can understand not wanting soapy coffee, but I don't really see why this needed to turn into an argument. All you need to do is say, oh, I think that probably there's just a little bit of soap in it. It tastes soapy to me. I'm just going to make myself another cup of coffee. No big deal. So, again, I don't know why it even needed to escalate to the point of an argument. It just seems like you are using this whole I'm grumpy in the morning excuse to kind of basically mask over, or rationalize why you got mad and yelled, or raised your voice rather. And, in this particular case, I think that this was just a really poor hill to die on, in my opinion. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. She told you about her past experience with abuse, and you're going to yell at her over coffee? We're all grumpy in the morning. Learn how to have a discussion without raising your voice instead of making excuses. You're the jerk. There was no reason for you to raise your voice over coffee. If it tasted like soap, pour it out, rinse out the machine properly, and make another pot. You waking up grumpy is not an excuse for being rude. Raising your voice is disrespectful and unproductive, and in this case is triggering your girlfriend, which you already knew. You're the jerk. Learn how to have a discussion about frivolous stuff without raising your voice at your partner. What do you think raising your voice accomplished here? All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my brother and sister-in-law not to have another child? All fake names on mobile. This actually happened at our family on Easter, but I wanted to get some outside perspective. I'm a 31-year-old male, and I went to my brother Jacob's place for Easter. His wife and Kate and daughter, Aria, 3, were of course there too. To note, Aria has Down syndrome and probably won't be able to live independently. She also has a heart defect. I always assume that Jacob and Kate wouldn't have more children, as caring for Aria is expensive and takes a lot of time. However, Jacob and I were smoking on the porch and talking about our gran who lives in a nursing home. he mentioned how that type of care is super expensive and how they were trying to have another baby to care for Arya after they're gone. That's a master plan right there. That's forward thinking. I was pretty shocked and asked him to elaborate. He said it would be cheaper to have another kid instead of saving up hundreds of thousands of dollars in a trust for Arya's care. I told him that was messed up and would make the kid feel unwanted. By then, sister-in-law had come outside and she started laying into me. She said I didn't know what it was to be like to be a parent of a disabled child and how I shouldn't judge. She asked me to drop the topic or leave. So I dropped it and went to play with Arya. Did I cross a line? I know how tough my brother and Kate have it, but their plan seems unethical. Am I the jerk? Alright, OP. This is a really weird situation, and I think that their plan is really odd. Like, first, they need to have a kid, and their kid actually has to be healthy. And I think after you have a birth with a Down syndrome child, your chances of having another one are pretty high, or birth defects in general. So this is first off making the assumption that the next child they have will be able to care for Arya. Then this is also making the assumption that the next kid they have will be willing to and will be there for them. And there's no guarantee about that. Because one, you don't know if that kid will have any number of problems of their own. Like what happens if the kid grows up and ends up having, substance abuse problems and is no place to care for Arya? Or what happens if they grow up and just want nothing to do with Arya? Or, any number of things here. There could be all kinds of reasons why their sibling wouldn't be able to care for them. And that's just the reality of the situation. So instead of doing something where they can guarantee that Arya will be cared for, they've decided to go with a cheaper option that might not actually pan out. So I don't really feel like they're doing Arya any favors here, because this just doesn't seem like a plan that has too many things that could go wrong here. I think they need to think a little bit more about this before deciding to have a kid specifically to care for their daughter. And I think that that's really what the crux of this boils down to. And I don't think you were wrong by saying that this plan was not sound. I think that it isn't sound, and they need to be told that it isn't sound. But that's just my opinion. So, yeah, I don't think that you're a jerk in this situation. I think that you're doing the reasonable thing. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. Tell them that they should watch My Sister's Keeper. I haven't seen that, but I'll take this person's word for it. This is exactly what I was about to say. It's completely immoral. Not the jerk. Read. The book is so much better. Not the jerk. Hijacking the top comment in hopes OP will see what is actually a very simple solution to his brother's problem: life insurance. It is available for pennies on the dollar and exists for situations just like this. He has a need to provide for someone who's still going to need them after he's gone. He and his wife could each get a 30-year term policy, which should be fairly cheap even for a $1 million policy, assuming that they're both young and relatively healthy. And they can convert it to permanent insurance at the end of the term in whatever proportion they want and if they still need. That makes a lot more sense than trying to save what they need through a lifetime of nickel and diming, and certainly a lot more sense than breeding a caregiver. Yeah, I mean, I think life insurance could certainly go a long way, and yeah, this person has a lot of good points that, yeah, if things go south out of the blue, or they get into an accident, yeah, like, that's going to help to alleviate a lot of those issues. So I don't necessarily think that this is a bad idea. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Hello, Earthlings. This is the creature that identifies itself as Brian, and here is some Reddit stories for it to read. I don't even know about that. The first story that this creature will be reading is called Am I a Jerk for Not Giving My Mom the Money I Saved Up that She Really, Really Needs to Save Her and Her Baby's Lives? Probably not the best one to start off on like that. I am mocking death. You want to see a horrible human being? Just turn and look towards the screen.